Let me bring the filmmakers back out. Tanner Shinnick is here. We have Aaron Allsop. We have John Meier. He screwed me up on the name. Have a seat, guys. So I should mention, those of you who didn't get a chance to meet the two llamas, I think Ben, our producer, brought them back. So there's a chance here in a moment. Thought we'd take a few moments for questions if you had any. We have microphones there and there. If you have any questions, just come on up and ask. In the meantime, I'll ask a few. I guess the one that I had the most, and I'm guessing a lot of you are wondering this too, Hunter. What happened? And did she, because she felt, she seemed like she was just like, I can't do this anymore. This is too, the competition doesn't work. I mean, I'm just wondering what's her part of the story now?
I think for her, she's a very logical person and was very much on the side of business, as opposed to Janessa, who was doing it more for fun. So in Hunter's eyes, she didn't want to compete at the national level because if she didn't place as well, then that would kind of drive the prices of her llamas down.
Wow.
Because, I mean, she thought about it as a business at only 16 years old and making it a profitable business, so she didn't want to affect that.
I call it llama conspiracy theories.
You see, what's that?
Well, and I would also add, like with Janessa, you know, we would put a mic on her, we would, you know, film like an interview at the beginning of the day, and she would just forget and that we were there.
Yeah.
But with Hunter, she knew when we were filming, and she was very particular about everything she said and everything she did. And so I think there might have been part of that too, knowing that she was going to be on the film and
yeah,
llama people would be watching it.
Oh yeah, we have footage of Hunter teaching Janessa where the mute switch was on the wireless.
Yes. Is that right?
Like, oh yeah, you know you can mute them just right here. Oh, okay.
That's not what you want.
No, that's not what you want.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, how do we disable those again?
How are they getting along? Any idea at this point? It's been a year or two.
Years. You know, I'm not really sure actually if they talk or they're getting along or anything. I would assume it's probably the same as the movie now. It's just cordial, you know, just hey, how are you, sort of a thing.
But does Hunter still compete? I guess is the question.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Oh yeah, so she didn't
moved to the adult leagues now.
Yeah.
Say that again.
They're moved up to the adult leagues now.
Oh, so. Yeah. So they're still, I guess that's the question, they're still in it. They're still...
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a way of life for them. So, like, Janessa's in veterinary school right now.
Oh, she is?
So, yeah, they're making a career out of it, too, at the same time.
What kind of reaction did you get from them? Did they give you, what did they say about it? I mean, I know there's always some trepidation when you show your film to your subject.
Yes.
Hunter's a very reserved person, so it was just kind of like, oh yeah, I've seen it, like it was good. Janessa, like her family, they were just big proponents for the film from the very beginning, so like they were some of our biggest cheerleaders within the llama community, so they love it. They always talk to us about it, send us emails and everything, and are, you know, evangelical about it. So I guess they liked it then.
So did you guys know that Ron is Tanner's father, right?
Those rumors are true.
Did you know that? What was it like growing up with that dude?
As you would imagine, it was weird. Very weird. Yeah, I mean, I guess I had no chance. I mean, I was called Llama Boy in high school. Had a lot of pet skunks, also raised on a fish farm. So, I mean, it was weird. That's all I can say. But I wouldn't change it for anything. Like, it was a phenomenal experience.
Sure.
So, yeah.
And what's he doing these days? Still
being weird as always.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just up there last weekend, and we were bottle feeding a baby llama together and just, you know, shooting the breeze. So, yeah, no, he's great.
What I wanted to also get a sense of how people are reacting to the film, and I have to say, I mean, people are really excited about the fact that we had llamas. It seems so unlikely, and llamas, yet they're so. So, what's the reaction to the film, and how is it connected to the fact that people just love these weird little creatures?
Well, one of the first screenings that we went to was in Omaha, and it did really well. It did really well in the youth. They really loved it, and we had I just remember getting photos with all the teenagers and the rising, youth filmmakers. It was really cool. So yeah, I mean, it just seems to be youth focused.
I think an interesting thing too is I think probably what gravitated the youth towards the film too is I think a lot of times people think of documentary as kind of serious in its tonality, but we kind of took it in a different route with doing kind of a little bit more lighthearted and comedic with it. I kind of think that was refreshing to them that you could do that, which is probably why it resonated.
What are you guys working on now? Do you have documentary ideas? You're working on films? I mean, what's happening now?
So right now we are doing a documentary about two women who live in Brooklyn who quit their Manhattan advertising jobs to pursue lumberjack sports full time.
Wow.
So, and it's kind of fun because Tanner's from Georgia. He grew up with llamas, and we started this project because I'm from Wisconsin, and lumberjacks kind of part of my family heritage. And,
Was that right?
Yeah. Well, in my town, it was built by lumberjacks, and the World Lumberjack Championship happens just an hour and a half north of my hometown, and I'd go there all the time. And then my mom was like, while we were finishing LLAMA Nation, she's like, why don't you do something about these lumberjacks? I'm like, oh yeah, I should probably listen to my mom.
That's great.
Taking axes on a New York City subway was very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet. Yes.
I had a question about the llamas in the snow and your equipment. Did you have to use special equipment for the cold? And tell us a little bit about that experience.
We just had very good insurance.
I will say, I don't know how we did this, but we found a way to mic them so well that when I was editing it, I couldn't hear any of the wind blowing, which just totally surprised me because usually when there's wind, you're going to hear it all the time. And it was so, when we came to actually editing it the first time around, they were screaming like, we got to bring them down here. Hurry up, bring them down here, Bo. But there was no wind going on, so it just sounded really weird. And so that was one of the things we had to add wind in post-production because it really was blowing like 60 miles an hour, and it was just like crazy.
And when the llamas went on the loose, that was just so crazy. And running around with those cameras, it's like you got to get the shot, but not cameras first. So
But don't get stepped on.
Waist deep.
yeah, don't get stepped on. Yeah, there was a point when I was right underneath one of the llamas, and I felt like I was going to get stepped on.
Yeah.
I was like, ah.
Bo's still at it with the llamas?
Oh,
do you know?
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think his business is doing really well. I see him post on Instagram all the time. They just do llama treks. Yeah, he's doing great.
What's the? This is a weird question. What's the future of llamas? What are you hearing about? I mean, are they? That came up in the show with this woman that we talked to. That they seem to be emerging as this kind of.
I remember when we first started this, something that Tanner would constantly say all the time was, I think llamas, they're like on the verge of pop culture. They're about to break. And I was like, okay, whatever. Sure.
Yeah.
But then there was the Llamas on the Loose that came out, that was, while we were editing. And there's all this.
Those big commercials have llamas in them now that I see all the time on TV. And I'm like, oh, they're
Well, I
finally
just
catching
remember.
up.
I remember as a kid, there was no llama merchandise out there. When the movie Emperor's New Groove came out, it was.
What did you think about that, by the way, when you were a kid and you were way into llamas?
Oh, dude, I
at
thought
the
it was
time?
totally cool.
Yeah,
but
of course.
so, the perception of the llama community was it was the only film that didn't do any merchandise with it. But nowadays, I just I can't buy it all. There's too much of it. I have 4 pairs of llama socks at home, and yeah, it's just
That's all I
it's
get
everywhere.
for Christmas is
Yeah.
llama stuff.
People just give me llama gifts all the time. It's oh, all this.
Cotopaxi, that must have they've taken on that.
They were actually, they helped us out with our Kickstarter.
Really?
We hosted the launch party at their headquarters back when they were up in Conwood Heights area. And they helped us out with kind of connecting us with some people at Sundance. We didn't get into Sundance, but we still met some people there.
They hired Aaron and I as llama wranglers for a bit, so we got to take their llamas out to events. That was
Really?
pretty exciting. Got a
We
good
had the
resume.
experience
Yeah.
already.
Yes.
I own 2 llamas, and they're scary. You know, and the only reason why I have them is to reduce taxes. They cost $200. They reduce my taxes by thousands of dollars. I don't know why I wouldn't do it, personally. But they can kill mountain lions. You didn't bring that up. That's kind of funky.
Oh yeah, that was one thing that we.
That's pretty cool.
Well, they're guard animals.
They sure are.
Yeah, and they're good at it. What do they do to kill a mountain lion? How do they do it?
Paws.
What?
Their front paws.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, people buy them for guard animals all the time.
Yeah, it's kind of a big
Very-
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and they take, well, at least Jack and Tracy, they take the fighting teeth away. I think they talked about that at least. You know, you don't want them fighting, the males fighting. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Too short. Okay, well. So I'm hoping to have a farm and livestock someday, and I'm planning to have working animals. And in the film, you see llamas doing things like being pack animals and service animals and all sorts of things. Many things that I often see, like horses and donkeys and mules doing. Why choose a llama over an equine or another working animal, for example?
Because they're the coolest.
Another reason, we filmed in Tennessee in the Smoky Mountains, and we cut this part out. But there's the LeConte Lodge. And so it's this lodge that hikers hike 6 miles up to, and they'll spend the night there. And from there, it's like their base camp to go hiking all across the Great Smoky Mountains. And the only way they can get supplies up there is with llamas. And so they had a pack train of like 10 llamas that would carry the food, the clean sheets, everything up there. It was like 3 times a week. And the reason why they picked llamas was because of the way that their hooves are, they can go along the trail without damaging it like a horse would or a mule would. And one of the reasons why Bo started with llamas instead of pack mules to go hunting was because they were a lot more nimble. They could go over rocks, you know. So being out here like in the Rocky Mountains where, you know, you may not be able to take a horse, you can take a llama. And because they are a camelid, they can go longer times without needing water.
And I would also say if they're raised properly, they're really gentle. They're like giant cats. And I think that's a really, you know, and they're really intelligent, like Tracy says too. Having that kind of connection with an animal that, you know, is working for you, I think is really important.
Yeah, for example, like the llamas we have here tonight are very well behaved and trained llamas, like they were excellent.
Did you guys see the llamas? Did you get a chance? Did you get a chance to have it purr at you or whatever that sound that they make? That freaked me out. That was cool. Yeah.
So I kind of have a filmmaker question. I mean, this was a movie about llamas, but it struck me it was also about adult relationships, like marriage compromise and stuff like that, especially in the two kind of. I loved how you framed that, and I'm just wondering, like, you had this great structure of the competitions, of course, but then, like, how did you figure out while you were shooting that was going on, that you could kind of play these characters against each other and tell the human side of the story, or did that come out in editing? Like, how did you know you had that part of the story and how to follow it?
I think from the beginning, our conversations were always mostly about the humans, and llamas were really just the avenue to tell that story. So, like, first and foremost, I guess the theme that I wanted from it was I wanted people to walk away and kind of say, well, I want to love something as much as these people love llamas. Then everything else just kind of built up from that.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that was kind of our guiding force, and Tanner would say that line a lot. And we, you know, in all of our meetings, we'd watch the edits, and it would be like, okay, this is just about the people. But, yeah, like Tanner said, it's just more of a human story.
Because to me personally, I never really considered it a film about llamas. It's really a character study of these people who happen to own llamas and what makes them tick.
Well, I can't wait to see what you do with lumberjacks. Guys, thank you. Thank you very much for joining us. Thanks, all. Appreciate it.